So Al's retired from the NYPD many years now, but he spent most of his career in the South Bronx, the 4-0 precinct. He's currently writing his memoir, and this is going to be one of the chapters.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. This has been an idea. John and I had a couple of pints after going to one of these storytelling shows, and the evening consisted about people walking their dogs and how their cat is their best friend. And we said, it's time, just, you got to start your own event sometimes. I'm scratching my head. And me being a retired New York cop, I go for the grittier side of life. I'm a Jersey boy originally. I grew up right across the George Washington Bridge in a little town called Leonia. It was really idyllic. And but my mother had come out of the Bronx. And when I went into the police academy and told my mother, "Hey, Ma, guess what? I'm assigned to the 40th precinct down on 138th Street." She cried at the kitchen table. Here she'd gotten out of there, and here her firstborn son was going right back there. To me, I was fine with it. I mean, when I came on the cops, I wanted to be in the real gritty side of things. I grew up watching Adam 12 and all these. That was really something I looked forward to. So I get there, and I got my wish straight away, and but it was always a poor neighborhood. The Irish were there; they were poor. The Germans were there; they were poor. The Jewish, they were poor, and now it was Puerto Rican. I had no quarrel with Puerto Rican people. I always say they're the Irish of the Caribbean, really. They're strongly religious. They're family oriented. And they'll take a drink any time of the day. So I knew I was going to fit right in with Puerto Ricans. And I have nothing but respect for Puerto Rican people. They're in those days, they came to New York City after World War II. And they were poor. Life had dealt them a bad hand, just like they had done to the Irish and everybody that lived there in those tenements. One of the things that you have to guard against when you're a cop, it's very easy to become overly cynical and to be judgmental and to think that all those people you see walking down the street are nothing but low down, no good people who are up to something, and if you weren't driving by them, they'd be, committing some sort of a crime. Once I had become one of the senior officers, I made it a point. We had this old Irish bar across the street from the precinct, and I would go and talk to some of the young rookies, because I knew it was very easy for them to fall into that trap. Especially some of the older cops too. We used to call them hair bags. They had nothing good to say about anything. Didn't matter what the subject was. Fuck that, he's no good, scumbag, douchebag, every adjective, that's cop language. And I would say to them, listen, try not to fall into that trap. When you're dealing with people, realize not everybody's bad. Yes, there's crime. But if you take that home to your family and put that into the minds of your children, you're going to poison them. They're going to become old before their time, and before they've gone out in life and experienced anything, they're going to have attitudes that you're putting in their head. So realize that, and sometimes, guys would take the advice. Other times I'd say, well, I said my piece, And the other thing you have to understand, being a cop, especially in the South Bronx, death is an everyday occurrence. Now, they don't teach you in the police academy how to handle it, but you learn what it looks like, what it smells like, okay? And it's a shock to you. It was for me, being a Jersey boy. Never seen a dead body before except in the funeral home. Well, when you see it up close in all its sort of, natural state, and it's not pretty, you understand that death is going to be part of your experience. And sometimes when you see it so much, you think that death is the only winner. It looks like death wins every day. From the tears of a mother who loses a child to crack, or heroin, as the junkies call it. From when the firemen bring out a body from an apartment fire, it looks like death has won. When somebody feels so hopeless and without any other solution that they throw themselves in front of a subway train, it looks like death has won. But I'm here to tell you tonight my story, and one day when death didn't win. I'm working a day shift in a radio car with my partner Linda. It's about noontime. The radio wasn't so busy, so we asked Central, could we go on our meal hour? They said, great, sector out and enjoy your meal. We're cruising in the radio car towards the 40th precinct. We're on 138th Street. The only thing on my mind is the two choices for lunch. Some ghastly Chinese affair, takeout, or a stale Cuban sandwich from the local bodega on the corner. That's about it. It's a food desert. Okay? Well, okay. In those days, I could eat that stuff. Then, as is often the case with police work, it goes from tranquility to sheer terror. Riding down the street, as I usually do, the window down, my left arm is getting its tan, much more than the right arm, and I hear screams. Ghastly screams. I look over to the projects on the corner of Willis Avenue and East 138th Street, and here's two elderly women staggering out of the lobby, covered in blood. I said, what the fuck? I go in the radio car, go up over the sidewalk onto the esplanade in front of the lobby door. Linda goes to one woman, I go to the other. She says, he's in there! He's cutting people! He's crazy! Automatically the gun comes out. Always. First thing, gun gotta come out. I go to her and I look. I could see through the lobby door, the glass. And here's this guy. He looked like fucking Paul Bunyan. It's huge. He's got a machete like this. I look at him. He looks at me. It's me and him now. Linda's calling for backup. The cavalry's coming, but who knows when the fuck it's getting there. He looks at me, sizes me up. No fear in his eyes. I could tell. He don't give a shit. I'm a cop. I got a gun or whatever. It's me and him. He kicks open the door. The fuck? I thought the door was going to come off the hinges when this guy kicked it. Now he's got the machete. He's looking at me. I've got the fucking gun. I'm like this. Drop it! Not happening. Now, think about this. Remember Marlon Perkins' Animal Kingdom used to be on Sunday nights, 7 o'clock. You saw the cheetah looking at the gazelle on the African plain, sizing him up. He's getting ready. He's going to run that gazelle down. Well, here he goes. He's coming like this, and I'm like, holy shit. I got 6 rounds in this gun. He comes at me. body shots are not going to take him down. It was about here to the doorway, maybe 30 feet. And I'm like this, the only thing that's going to take this fucking guy down, I got to hit him here. That's it. I put lead into his body. His momentum's going to carry him into me. It's me and him. Now he starts coming. There's no cover for me. The radio car's back here. All the training that we did in the police academy was for this one moment. Because every cop runs this scenario through their mind. Because you hope it never happens. Now he's coming. Full gallop. This is it. There's one of us not going home tonight. He's in the full gallop. I got my finger on the trigger, and I know how much pressure has got to go to that trigger for that round to go. And I got one shot. I look at him. Boom. That fucking round should have went off. The man dropped to his knees. Dropped the machete. He started crying. I don't know how I didn't let that round go. I can't explain it, but I didn't shoot him. The machete went to the side. All he could say is, "Officer, I'm sorry. I'm sorry." The ambulance got there, took the two women away. I put him into the handcuffs. All the time, I'm putting him in the back car. He's still crying. It was as if a demon had released from his body, and that possession was over. And I want to tell everybody here today, death didn't win that day. I could have shot the man, and in every legal sense would have been totally justified. There would have been no riots. There would have been no protests about me shooting this man. But I want to tell you today, and my son is here tonight. He's never heard this story. But I want to tell you, Griffin, something interceded that day on Willis Avenue. I don't know what it is. We could all have our interpretation. But you're here today because I went home that day. And that man, I don't know where he is today, but he went home that day. The two women survived. And I want to tell you, death doesn't win every time. Because love is greater than death. Thank you.